Welcome back, everybody. It's time for a little Q&A, and I brought in trainer Chris Ryder to be with us tonight. Chris, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to be with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You know, a couple of years ago, Chris, you had one of the best older pacers that we have ever seen, a horse by the name of Bettor's Wish. What do you think of the Bettor's Wish progeny on the ground that you've seen so far?
Well, they look terrific. Very tidy, nice heads, very correct, and there's only about 40 of them. It's the first crop that he bred, just 50 mares when he was racing as a 4-year-old. So it's a small crop, and they're going to be Jersey side, so they'll be racing here next summer.
So getting the New Jersey Sire Stakes pacing program back online.
Correct.
Oh, that's going to be that's a great thing for everything in the state, no question. Now we want to turn it over to Gary DeLeo for a fan question. Gary, what do you got?
Okay, I have one of our top fans here, Michael. Michael has a tough question for Chris.
Hi, Chris. I just wanted to know, do you miss driving at the Big M anymore since you moved over exclusively to training?
Do you miss driving anymore at the Big M now that you've moved over to training?
I miss driving a little bit, yeah. It's always fun to get out there and drive, but my priority is to train. And once in a while I drive if it suits or if we're stuck, but I've probably done enough driving and don't want to get hurt.
Well, when you were younger, was it something, though, that you really wanted to do, be a driver instead of a trainer?
Not really. No, I was always focused on training and just happened to drive a little bit, but training has been my focus.
All right. We want to turn it back over to Gary for a question from my friend and fellow Met fan, Johnny V. Gary DeLeo, take it away.
Okay, we have another big fan here, John. John's got a question for Chris. Chris?
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good, thanks.
How come your horses are so good off layoffs? Is it by design or by plan?
Well, I don't believe in bringing a horse to the races unless they're fit. We usually have a couple of qualifiers, and that's a trainer's job, mate. You shouldn't race a horse until they're fit enough to race. So we have a little bit of luck straight out of the box, as you say, and but it's mainly with horses that are fairly capable anyway. So obviously that makes it a little easier. Thank you.
We always look for horses, Chris, who basically qualify before they race, and yet we've seen others who just off layoffs come back and go and do well. What is it? What is the Chris Ryder way? Do you definitely want to qualify before you race, or is that not necessarily the case?
Oh no, well, we have to qualify before we race.
No, but once the season is going, and if you take a 6-week layoff, let's say.
Yeah, usually qualify, but only if we have to.
Okay.
It's trainer's job to get a horse fit, so that's just what we do.
All right, last question. Number 6, Lisa Lane in the first race, is driven by a guy who you're very familiar with, Patrick Ryder, your son.
Right.
How does it feel to have him be a part of this horse, and more importantly, as the driver of the horse?
Oh, it's good. I'm pleased for him, to get out there. He owns half the filly, and it's just a good experience for him. He needs experience, like they all do, but he's only been driving like a year and a half. He's thrilled to be able to drive at the Meadowlands, of course, and he's doing really well. So he doesn't get too nervous, and we were in a tough spot tonight. I'm sorry, but hopefully we'll look for a better draw next week.
Certainly, Lisa Lane is a horse that you have high expectations for, no?
Yeah, we do. She was a cheapie yelling, and she's come along really well, and she's going to make some money.
Okay, well, that brings down the curtain on this round of Q&A. We want to thank Chris Ryder very much for joining us, Chris. Now it's time for you to get to work.
That's right. I got to go. Thank you.
All right, he's got to get out there and get some horses warmed up for later in the card. That wraps it up. Thanks again to Chris Ryder. We'll be back tomorrow with more Q&A.